Hey friends, welcome to the Time for Living podcast, your ultimate guide to finding the time you need to crush your business dreams while still having time to live your one beautiful life. I'm your host, Lucy Clark, a devoted boy mum, dedicated business owner and time-finding expert. Say goodbye to the I'm too busy mindset that's holding you back from growing your online business. No more feeling overwhelmed or stuck in the same place year after year. Each week, we'll dive deep into strategies for being intentional with your precious time so you can hit those business goals while still making time for yourself and your family. If you're ready to create more time, get practical tips and prioritize the steps that will make the biggest impact on your business and life, then you're in the right spot. Pop in your earbuds, steal a quiet moment, and let's find time together. Last week, we talked about conversion paths. And the one thing I want to carry into today is this. A conversion path is the structure that exists before the selling moment happens. It's the defined sequence that moves someone from interest to purchase. And when that structure is missing, the selling moment has to carry everything. The path and the presentation all at once. That's when revenue gets inconsistent. Not because you're not good enough, because the structure isn't holding the weight for you. I knew as soon as I finished that episode that we'd need to come here next, because the moment you start examining your conversion path, you run straight into your offers. And that's where I want to spend today, not on tweaking or improving, but on getting honest about what's actually making selling feel so hard. Can I ask you something? How many times have you changed your offer in the last 12 months? Renamed it, repositioned it, added something, taken something away, wondered if the price was the problem, then changed it, then wondered if that was the problem. Maybe you retired an offer entirely because it just wasn't landing and started building something new, sure that this time it would feel different. And maybe it did for a moment. A sale came in and you thought, yes, this is it. I finally got it right. And then the weight came back. The friction returned, and quietly, in the back of your mind, you started wondering if the offer needed another round. I'm not saying this to call you out. I'm saying it because I've seen it so many times. And I've felt versions of it myself. That cycle of revising, relaunching, hoping, and then landing back in the same feeling of heaviness around selling. It's exhausting. And it's costing you more than you probably realise. In time, in energy, in the mental space that should be going somewhere else. I want to be honest with you today. Not in a tough love way, more in a sitting next to you, no judgment way, because I think there's a story you've been telling yourself about why selling feels hard, and I think that story is costing you. And here's what I want to offer today. What if the offer isn't the problem? There's a belief that runs quietly underneath a lot of small businesses. Doesn't shout, it just hums in the background, shaping decisions without you fully noticing. It sounds like this. If selling feels hard, the offer needs to be better. So you fix the offer. And sometimes it works, briefly, enough to keep the belief alive, enough to make it feel like a reasonable conclusion. But here's the thing about that belief. It's just logical enough to be dangerous, because yes, sometimes the offer does need work. Sometimes the positioning is genuinely off. So every time the doubt creeps back in, it brings just enough evidence with it to feel legitimate. And you go around again. I want to look at this pattern more closely because there's something underneath it that I think most people completely miss. Think about the last time selling felt heavy. Not failed, just hard. Effortful in a way that surprised you. Maybe it was a discovery call where you felt like you were explaining the offer from scratch. Maybe it was writing a follow-up and spending 20 minutes trying to figure out how to describe what you do. Maybe it was someone asking a simple question about your services and you paused, just for a second, because you weren't quite sure which version of the answer to give. That pause, that reconstruction, that's what I want to talk about today. So here's why the offer gets the blame. It's the most visible thing. When selling feels hard, your brain looks for the problem in the place it can see. The offer is right there. It has a name, a price, a description. You can hold it, look at it, change it. It feels actionable in a way that nothing else does. What's invisible is everything happening underneath. All the small, live decisions your brain is making every single time you present that offer to someone. Which offer do I lead with? Decision. How do I describe the scope for this particular person? Decision. Do I mention the price now or after I've explained the value? Decision. How do I handle it if she hesitates? Decision. What do I say in the follow-up? Decision. None of these feel like decisions in the moment. They feel like conversation, like good judgment, like the natural, competent work of selling. But every single one of them is drawing from the same resource, your mental bandwidth, your capacity to think clearly, the same resource that's running the rest of your business and your family and your life. When that resource is spent reconstructing the basics of how you present your work every single time you sell, selling is always going to feel harder than it should. Not because the offer is wrong, because your brain is doing too much work in the selling moment. Here's what makes this so worth naming. Some of the heaviest offers to sell are genuinely good ones. The work is solid, the results are real, clients who've bought it have been happy. There's nothing wrong with the offer by any objective measure. And yet, every time it comes up in conversation, there's still small bracing. That split second of a preparation before you speak. That invisible effort that happens before the actual selling even starts. I want to tell you what's actually happening in that moment. When an offer doesn't have a defined presentation, when the way you describe it, frame it, and sequence it changes depending on who's asking, what mood you're in, how tired you are, how much you think they can afford, selling it means constructing something from scratch. Every time. You're not delivering a message you've already built. You're building the message live, in real time, while also trying to be present and warm and persuasive. That's an enormous amount of invisible work. Think about the difference between cooking a meal you know by heart and cooking a meal you're improvising as you go. The ingredients might end up similar. The result might even look the same on the plate. But one of those experiences takes something from you and the other doesn't. That's selling with a defined presentation versus selling without one. And here's the part that makes the cycle so hard to break, because you're presenting the offer differently each time. You can't actually learn from it. You can't tell what's working and what isn't, because what you said last Tuesday isn't quite what you said last Thursday. You can't refine a moving target, so the offer never gets easier, even when the offer itself hasn't changed at all. And that absence of progress feels like evidence that the offer is the problem. So you change it, and the whole thing starts again. Every minute your brain spends reconstructing that presentation is a minute it's not spending on your actual work or your family or anything else that matters to you. That's where the time goes, not to the selling, to the friction living inside it. So let me make this distinction as clearly as I can, because this is the whole point of today. Selling friction is not the same as offer quality. They can absolutely coexist. You can have a strong offer with high selling friction. You can have a weaker offer with almost none. The quality of what you're selling matters, but it's not what determines how hard selling feels from the inside. What determines that is how much your business is asking of your brain in the selling moment. And this is where I want to connect back to last week. Your conversion path is the upstream structure. It's the container the selling moment is supposed to land inside. When that container is missing, the selling moment has to carry everything. But even when your conversion path is defined, if your offer presentation isn't, if there's no consistent way to describe it, frame it, and sequence it, the weight returns at the execution level. You've solved one layer and left another one open. A defined sequence changes this, not a script. I'm not talking about something rigid or robotic. I'm talking about having a clear, consistent way of presenting your offer so that your brain isn't rebuilding it from the ground up every time someone shows interest. So that when someone asks what you do, the answer is already formed. So that when you sit down to write a follow-up, you're not starting from scratch. You're just continuing something that already has shape. That's a structural question. It's a question about how your offers live inside your business, not whether they're the right offers. And it's not a you problem. It's a design problem. I'm not asking you to fix anything this week. We're still in the defining phase. The work right now is about seeing clearly, not moving fast. But here's what I want you to do. This week, notice one moment where presenting your offer required a real-time decision. It might be choosing which offer to mention in a conversation. It might be figuring out how to explain the scope or justify the price. It might be staring at a follow-up message and not quite knowing how to start it. It might be something as small as that half-second pause before you answer a question about what you do. That moment where you're scanning through everything you know about your offer, trying to find the right version for this person right now. When you find that moment, don't judge it, just notice it. Notice how long you spend there. The adjusting, the figuring out, the searching for the right words. That time is real. And it's time your business is taking from you that it simply doesn't need to. Once you can see where the decision is being made in real time, once you can name it specifically, you've found where the weight is coming from. There's the map. And you can't design around something you haven't seen yet. The thing I want you to leave with today is this. Selling doesn't get easier by improving the offer. It gets easier when the offer asks less of you each time. There's real relief in that because it means the problem isn't what you're selling, it's what your selling process is asking of your brain. And that's something you can actually change. Not by working harder, by designing more clearly. That's what this work is all about. Not more effort, more definition. Next week, we're going to go one layer deeper into what it actually looks like to run a business inside real life, not inside perfect conditions. Because most businesses are built around long stretches of time that simply don't exist for a lot of us. We're going to talk about what it looks like to move a revenue-focused business forward in small, contained blocks, the kind of time you actually have. I think that conversation is going to land for a lot of you. Thanks for spending this time with me today. I'll see you next week. Hey friends, thank you so much for tuning in to the Time for Living podcast today. If this episode inspired you to take action and save time, I'd be so grateful if you could leave a written review and subscribe over on Apple Podcasts. Your feedback means the world to me and helps us reach even more amazing people like you. If you know a friend who needs to hear this message, share this episode with them. And remember, your time is precious, so make every moment count. Until next time, keep dreaming, keep living, and keep making time for what matters most.